Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Morphtronic Man.
And I'm Cryptic Shark.
And today we are doing a September 2013 ban list discussion.
Yeah, I mean, new format. We might as well look at what was banned and how things have changed, because it's really big for TCG. Alright, let's get into it then.
This is the TCG ban list, just
Guys,
for people who wonder.
Newly forbidden cards, so banned basically.
Banned!
Yeah, we have the Baby Dragon Rulers. So why are they banned?
Because they're stupid. Elemental Dragons, when they were first released on the internet with the level 7 versions, I must say, with my stupidity, I said, this deck is never going to be good. It's not going to work as a deck on its own. It's just going to get teched into other decks, and that's how it's going to work.
Yeah, and for the big dragons, that is the case. But the small dragons, they broke them. I mean, the consistency of the deck, if you've ever played them, as I assume most people have, they were just too powerful. You would just, every turn it would be Exceed rank 7 again and again and again, and it's just so hard.
So what the Baby Dragons let you do was they let you get everything into the grave really quickly because they discarded straight from the hand, so you weren't banishing from the hand, you could banish straight from the graveyard, and it was stupid. It was stupid.
Was it a surprise though? And I'm going to say yes.
Yes.
Okay, this was the big deck of the time. I mean, they ran for 2 formats in the OCG, they were massive. And we had them for a format, and they're dead already. I mean, it's crazy.
Barely even a format, though. They were out for about 2/3 of the format, really.
Yeah.
And considering that it took 2 formats for Inzectors to get even slightly hit, and they were kings of the castle in their day, I was like...
You will see them another format.
I didn't expect them to get this radically hit so quickly.
But here's the big one. Are Dragon Rulers dead?
Well, obviously not, considering that we had a recent YCS in somewhere...
Toronto?
Was it YCS Toronto?
I think it was.
And they won with the no Baby Dragons, and I would really recommend checking out that deck because it's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it used Card Troopers for the Earth, also milling into the grave. It used the 2000 defense point Wind Monster, which summons from the grave. I mean, there was some really good playing. Yeah.
But that's another discussion for another time. On to the next few guys.
Okay, Stratos.
Stratos, no!
Why is Stratos banned? Okay.
Oh, no.
Are heroes much of a threat?
Well, considering that I think there was one YCS last year where I said, you know what, I think heroes are going to do alright, and then they came up with 2 top 32 using 2 completely different decks, but they'd barely been around for about a format and a half.
Yeah, I mean, what is the point then? I mean, we'll see other cards, which will probably give more light to this, but in all honesty, one of the big things is that it's a mass destruction effect for spell and traps, and it's a searcher.
Yeah. And it's just, yeah.
1 out for heroes then.
Well, heroes aren't completely dead, because yes, Stratos was a very key card, but it's not the core mechanic of what a lot of hero players used it for, so I think they can still run. It's just that they've lost one of their key elements.
Yeah.
Which is just what you're going to do.
Okay, number 16, Shockmaster. This is our second Exceed band, I do believe.
Yeah, the first being Wind Up Zen Mighty.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was this a surprise? I'm going to say yes. I wasn't expecting this. I mean, it is a great card, don't get me wrong. Shockmaster will win you games. However, it's 3 level 4s. I mean, that is not an easy feat to pull off at the best of times. Certain decks, yes, they can, but still, I mean, 2300, it requires 3 level 4s. It's a hard one to go into. How will this affect the format? Well, I mean, we're going to see a massive spell card being hit soon enough on the battle, we'll show you soon enough. And it's just how Konami TCG has formed it, really. I mean, they have just basically taken all the big mass destruction or negation cards out of the format.
Of the backer, especially. But the thing with Shockmaster is, I guess the point is that you couldn't really have semi-limited it or limited it. There was a deck I actually saw a while ago that was a Shockmaster deck, but the point is that people would never run more than one of him in any other deck.
Yeah.
So there would be no point in limits, like I said, no point in semi-limiting or limiting him. So if they were going to hit him at all, it was going to be a ban.
You run him at 1, and it'll win you games when you summon him. Replacements. So what will we be using instead?
Royal Decree. Trap's done.
Yeah, I mean, some of the key cards we will be using spell and trap card-wise. For Exceeds, I thought Black Ship of Corn. I mean, I wasn't personally running it. And after looking at over all the level 4s, 3s, and 5s, it does seem the one I want to run the most.
Just have to wait for it to get legal in Europe. But for me, I must say, towards the end of the last format, I wasn't running him, so I haven't really had to replace him, but just any other rank 4, really. Although there's this like cube 3 rank force one, which I forget its
3,000
name.
attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's got like 2,500 attack.
It's the one with 6. Another time.
Yeah, another time. Anyway, moving on. Moving on.
Right. Card destruction.
Card destruction is gone.
So why is it banned? It's broken. It is so broken. Why that was at 1, I do not know. Dark Lords played that first turn. You know you were dead. You knew there's no hope. In the same way that Dragon Rulers took it on. Dragon Rulers started using it, and it was a broken combo. You throw all your drinks to the grave, you get a whole new hand, and you can start summoning them from the grave. So, really good.
Fabled and Dark Worlds are really unhappy at the moment. I'm surprised to see it go, though. I must say, yes, like you said, Dark Worlds, they played it turn 1, they almost had a guaranteed win, and Dragon Rulers, you abused it, but Dragon Rulers have already been hit really hard, so I didn't see any need for them to get much harder. And Dark Worlds haven't been viable for a very long time, really, especially not in the top meta.
Yeah, I mean, you also had Empty Jar running it, but I mean, it'll hurt certain decks, but it wasn't the big card. It's not going to be the big card anymore, obviously. I mean, Dark Worlds will now have, well, I think, a better chance in this format, despite they've lost card destruction. I mean, they are still very good, and you can make them very fast. I mean, card destruction was just that guaranteed win, but I mean, Dragon Rules, we're abusing it more, and that's why we've got it banned. Gateway of the Six. I'm going to say this. Finally! Why was this card not banned so long ago?
Yes! It's gone! As an archetype, I have no real problem against Six Samurai. What I have a problem with is that, especially when I first started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Properly, in inverted commas, all the people I was playing against were Six Samurai players, and they thought they were really good because it was just such an easy deck to use. And Gateway, oh my god, Gateway. Yeah. I hate it so much. I mean, so much I hate it.
There is a reason why it's banned, and it would be that they've now got a loop they can do with Daigusto Emerald and Evil Swarm Ouroboros.
Yeah, that's the one. Evil Trishula.
It's basically the wind-up hand loop, only I think... What is it? It is basically the wind-up hand loop, only it sends everything to the grave. It discards from the hand to the graveyard.
It sends from the hand to the graveyard, yeah. And basically, that's probably one of the reasons it's banned, but in all honesty, I'm just glad to see it go. And I'm sorry for all you Six Samurai players out there. They're like, no, what are my key cards? But in all honesty, you can still win games. You won games without Gateway.
I mean, there was a deck which was played in the last format, I think, which didn't run Gateway at all, and came top 32.
I don't know that deck, but fair enough, I'll take your word for it. Are Six Samurai still relevant for the meta?
I think they'll have an okay chance because a lot of the decks have been hit, and Six Samurais do have a good chance of doing well. I mean, you get Gateway late, and mid game, late game, it's sort of a worthless card. You can't really do much because you've burned all your monsters. But we'll see. I mean, I think personally they have a good chance.
I think Six Samurai are no more viable nor any less viable than they used to be. It's kind of counting each other out. Anyway, moving on.
Heavy Storm.
What the beep?
Yeah.
Even though we have no public cursing on this channel.
Yeah. Why ban it? I mean, this is the big destruction card. It stops overextending. Why break us? I mean, we're going to have all the staple traps now on the back row destroying us to pieces.
Or the bigger question is, why ban it? But then they didn't bring back Giant Trunade.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. But why not Dark Hole? I mean, Dark Hole destroys all monsters. Maybe this is Konami's way of saying, we're not allowing you to overextend so much.
Yeah, and Dark Hole saw very little play towards the end of last format, whereas Heavy Storm saw less play, but was still in there. But
yeah.
And what does this change to the format? Well, you would instantly think, set 5 back row, done, you lose. But, as we'll see later, that will not be the case.
Yeah. So do we agree with it being banned? And honestly, while I don't like the fact that it's banned, I do agree. It is a massively comeback card. I mean, you play that, just destroy all back row. If you don't have a judgment set or like a way of negating Heavy Storm, it can win you games. It's basically an OTK enabler.
And for me, do I agree with it? Not at all. But I am very excited to see what the format presents because of this radical change.
Monster Reborn. Oh my god, are they just going to kill all the big cards?
Oh, the staples are going!
Next we'll see Solemn Judgment.
What happened to the big three?
Yeah, I mean, Monster Reborn, is it really that broken? Yes.
Yes.
It can summon from every player's graveyard, no attachments. I mean, it will win you games. You'll top deck that and you'll go, I've won.
My BLS.
So, what are the alternatives then? Do you want to...
Well, really, there's not really any card like it out there. Because really, every other card I can think of summons from your graveyard, except for what's his name, the elemental god thing that was in that psychic deck.
Oh, Grand Soul.
Yes, Grand Soil. He can summon from either one, but he hasn't seen
Playing a while now.
quite a while now.
But yeah, I mean, we have Call of Haunted. You have XYZ Reborn if you're running Exceeds. I mean, there is a few alternatives you can run. I mean, it's just what Konami seems to be doing is making players make their decks a bit more creative, a bit more diversity in plays. I mean, very few decks wouldn't run Monster Reborn. I can think of maybe Midolches might not run it, Gravekeepers might not run it, but not a big amount. Is it a welcome change? Certainly a lot of people will say that it's going to take more skill now. It's not just about the top deck. I mean, you can't just draw that Monster Reborn and go, I've won the game because I drew one good card. It is going to be who has the better deck and who plays better.
And yeah, that's all I got to say on it as well.
Okay, Pot of Avarice. They are actually banning every big card.
Thank God. I'm not going to lie. I really hate Pot of Avarice. I've just always hated it.
Yeah, I mean, what you'll have is you have someone playing, going all out, and you'll stop it, and they'll play Pot of Avarice, and straight away all their cards are back in the deck. They've got a second chance.
I must say. And of all the cards that have been like out of Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm, Dark Oak, I hate Pot of Avarice the most just because either it rubs salt in your wound because your opponent's gone for a master play and you go, oh, thank God they've stopped. No, they have not stopped. They play Pot of Avarice. Or you're like, yes, they're top decking. One card. I win. And it's like, Pot of Avarice, I now draw 2 cards. And for some reason, because I have a broken deck, 2-card TK combo.
Yep. Alternatives. Well, this card's being banned, so we have Pot of Duplicity now, which is basically the same, only it's a bit more...
I just see no play.
I won't say any play, probably, but it is a bit more balanced.
I must say, I looked at it, I was like, oh, this will be nice, and then I looked at it again, I was like, no, this is not going to see any play.
Basically, you have to use it at the start of your main phase, so straight away, it's getting rid of the Pot of the Avarice problem where they'd overextend, you destroy them with, say, a Torrential Tribute, and then they play it. You have to play it at the beginning. But not only that, it has to be 3 different types, I believe. 3 different types, and then you draw 2 cards.
And you can't conduct your battle phase.
Wow, that does have a lot of restrictions.
I'm pretty sure you can't conduct your battle phase anyway.
Okay.
Someone tell me in the comments.
Spellbook of Judgment.
Yes!
Why was that?
Yes!
Why was that even created? I mean, if you read that card, they could have made that so more restrictive, but they didn't. Like, there's so many things that's up to or equal to the number of whatever, the levels, etc., etc. Basically, you play that, you can plus 5, 6, 7. I mean, you can plus so badly with this card. It brought spellbooks from tier 2, just being played, to straight away top tier 1.
Tier 0.
Yeah, exactly.
And another funny story with this card, like Dragon Rulers, I saw this card and I went, don't worry, spellbooks won't get that much better. Oh my God, was I wrong?
Oh, yes.
It was more broken than Gateway of the Six Samurai, and God knows how that was ever possible.
I mean, Spellbook of Judgment is basically saying, play all your cards, which basically add more cards and loop. So you'll have the same amount of cards by the end of the turn, and you get to add as many as you want, basically, in Special Summon. I mean, we saw some ridiculously good plays with it. I mean, you'd get, let's say, Taiku out, and then you'd use Judgment, you'd get Yojin out, so they can't Special Summon, you'd have a Fate set, so they can't...
They were all the same plays.
Yeah.
Every single one of them was basically identical.
Yep. So, what now for Spellbooks and Prophecy decks? I mean... They'll probably just go back to how they were played before. I mean, not broken, but just they're able to fight their own.
But the difference is that they've got a new monster, World of Prophecies in it.
Yeah. Which
I am looking forward to seeing people use Temperance with that because, yes, I really like the card, but no one played it because it wasn't necessary.
It was... it's basically like a Judgment Dragon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of scary. I can't remember exactly what it does. It's been a while since I read it, but...
Basically, you can't Special Summon another monster, spellbook that turn, or a monster, I think.
No.
But what you can do is, once it's Special Summoned, you can destroy everything on the field but that card, and if you have... Yeah, you can add 2 spellbooks to your hand if you have...
Something.
Yeah, something like that.
A restricted card with things not like you, Spellbook of Judgment.
Right, Super Rejuvenation. Okay, with Dragon Rules here, did this need to be banned?
With the baby dragons here, more specifically.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say probably not forbidden. I mean, maybe to 1 or 2, but it was a very good card. You play that in your end phase, and you could literally go from having played all your cards to have a field to having a full hand again. And it really did just change the meta so much. And that basically answers the same question. Did it really make Dragon Rules more broken? Yes. They basically added back their entire hand, so...
But other decks that are sad about it, Exodia, Blue Eyes decks, Hieratics are a bit sour about it, Dragoonities are a little sour about it, etc.
Yeah. Solemn Judgment. Did I just predict the future, or did I know that Solemn Judgment would be on this ban list?
It's almost like you created it.
I know. Right, so Solemn Warning went to 1. I mean, if you look at Solemn Judgment to Solemn Warning, which is better? And I mean, Solemn Warning, while it can stop almost any summon, Judgment can negate not only a normal summon, special summon, etc., but also...
Spell, trap cards.
Yeah. But one of the things which made Solemn Judgment so good is, no matter how much life points you had, you could always play it. And that's the thing Warning didn't have. You have to pay 2,000 life points with Warning.
Yeah. And
so Judgment just had that little bit of a counter. So how good is it? It would win you games. You had the Dino Rabbits when they had Lagia out, 2 Judgment, not 2 Judgment, 2 Warning and a Judgment. That was really game. You wouldn't have a win on that. So what does this change? Well, it means we're going to have less of a negation format and more of a you let your opponent do stuff, and you're probably reacting in their turn a bit more because you can't negate so much. I mean, we might see Black Horn of Heaven, I think, being played a bit more.
Black Horn of Heaven, yeah, I've seen that around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it is just a bit of another game changer.
Why? Why would you do this to me?
So, Ultimate Offering, why is this banned? Well, it's so good. I mean, Gadgets, Madolches, it was one of the best OTK makers there are. It could create 2-card OTKs, 3-card OTKs. On its own, it is so broken. It's okay. Madolche still
Madolche Magdalene is so sad!
Yeah. So, all of a sudden, though, I think they're trying to make a slower format, like get rid of the mass amount of OTKs. I mean, we'll see that in the future with stuff like Unix Ally Birdman, which we'll come to soon enough. I mean, they've just got rid of all OTKs and made the format a lot slower, which I kind of like, to be honest.
Anyway, I believe that's all the forbidden cards?
I can find out? Yes.
Yes,
right.
It is. Right, so we now move on to newly limited.
Right, see you in a minute.